Good morning, Facebook. Aaron, if you're watching, we love you. We're going to go straight into our praise and worship this morning. If you can, let's clap our hands together. Let's give God the best praise of the day today. Let praise be a weapon that silences the enemy. Let praise be a weapon that conquers all anxiety. Let it rise. Let praise arise. We sing your name in the dark and it changes everything. We sing with all we are and we claim your victory. Let it rise.
God has turned my shame into glory because I had lots of it and I kept piling it on myself because that's what we do. We keep our shame and we let it imprison us every day. But God takes those things, He takes those dead things and He begins to bring them back to life. He breathes His life into it. His breath of life is in us, and that's what brings us back to life each and every day. So today we're going to sing about God taking those graves and turning them to gardens. And the bones that are dead, He breathes His life back in and makes armies out of them. Turns our shame into His glory. Everything in God's time will be for His glory.
You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can.
Only God can do those things in our life. No one else. I can't do anything on my own. Everything that I do is because of God and the strength that He puts in me. Because in my weakness, God is made strong. So today we're going to sing our last song. Let this be a sacrifice for you this morning to give God every piece of you and hold nothing back from Him today.
All on the altar, surrendered again. Freely I lay down my everything. This is my honor, the gift that I bring, and I will be a living sacrifice, all my heart and soul to glorify. I offer nothing less than all my life for Jesus Christ. I just wanna bless you, whatever it takes, with my mind and my body, all my spirit and strength. God, if you are a fire,
Today, God only asks for us. He only asks for our worship, for our praise to Him. So let's give Him all.
I'll give you all of my worship. Fall fire, consume it. I'll give you all of my worship. Fall fire, and I will be a living sacrifice. All my heart and soul to glorify. I offer nothing less than all my life for Jesus Christ. Oh, and I will be a living sacrifice. All my heart and soul to glorify. I offer nothing less than all my life for Jesus
I know that it's a sacrifice to close your eyes. I know that it's a sacrifice to lift up your hands. But today, to give God all of our praise, the best of our praise today, if you would just close your eyes, you can't see who's around you, and you don't know if anybody else is watching you. But today, you can close your eyes and lift your hands and give God your best praise for the day.
I'll give you all of my worship. Fall fire, consume it. I'll give you all of my worship. Fall fire,
Amen. Fire fall on us today, Father. God, we give you all, God. We hold nothing back from you today.
and I will be a living sacrifice. All my heart and soul to glorify. I offer nothing less than all my life for Jesus Christ. Amen.
Good morning. You guys can all be seated. I am doing announcements today. So I actually have some pretty cool announcements. I'm kind of turn that down just a little bit, Brandon. Just a lot, actually. Oh, kids, you are good to go. You are good to go to class. So, I actually have some pretty cool news about Community Circle Church. So, as you guys know, we have our meetings on Mondays, and don't be distracted by this little piece of paper. This is just so I don't forget everything that I have to say. We have meetings every Monday, and we started discussing, and we thought now is the time that we are going to start a youth group here at Community Circle Church. Round of applause, that's awesome. Yes. So here's how it's going to work. It's going to be from the 7th grade all the way to 12th grade. Youth group, 7th grade to 12th grade. So we have our kids in the back here on Sundays, but we haven't had anything for, the kids that are still in school, that are in high school, middle school. So 7th to 12th grade. It is going to be on Sunday nights. Sunday nights, the first and third Sunday of the month. Sunday nights at 5 p.m. I'm going to say that again. First and third Sunday of every month, starting in May at 5 p.m. Youth group, 7th to 12th grade. Be there, invite your friends. I see 3 youth in here right now. Yes, you're going to be there. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. And it is going to be led by me and my wife, Emma. She's in the back right now with the kids. So we will be speaking life into your guys' kids, your brothers and sisters' kids, whoever. Just bring everybody. We're going to be the ones speaking life and leading these kids to Jesus. So some more announcements. Look for us on social media at Your CC Church on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're everywhere. We're even on YouTube. So if you want to check out some old messages, you think that something that Pastor Steve said was good, or you just can't remember what it was, but you really liked it, you can always go back and watch. You can go back and watch on Facebook. You can go back and watch on YouTube as well. And we also have a website, yourccchurch.com. Yourccchurch.com is also going to be having opportunities for you to watch, to get involved, to email us, contact us, and all of the above. So just real quick, if you're watching online, I just want to welcome you. We love you guys, and we hope to see you here soon. Keep watching though. It's going to get better than this, I promise. It will get better than this.
The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. Yes, that was good. So another thing, Easter is coming. Be thinking of people to invite for Easter. Easter is one of the biggest outreaches of the year for the church. For Community Circle Church, it's Easter and the Super Bowl. Man, we're going to do some crazy stuff with the Super Bowl. I get excited for the Super Bowl every year just for church. Not even a game, because man, church is, it's different. It's awesome. It's a huge outreach. But Easter, find people to invite to Easter. We are going to have a bounce house for the kids. So bring your kids, bring family members' kids, whatever. Bring a random kid off of the street. Make sure his parents are okay with it before. So we're going to have a bounce house, and we're going to have an Easter egg hunt. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Bring all the kids you can. Next week, that is going to start our 21 days of prayer and fasting. So during the 21 days of prayer and fasting, we are going to give something up for that 21 days. And in that time that we're giving that up, we're going to replace that time with prayer. So the cool thing, hear me out, about iPhones, I don't know if Androids do this, but iPhones, if you have an iPhone, it actually will tell you how long you are on each individual app. So what I am going to be doing personally is, just to give you guys an idea, I'm going to be giving up social media for 21 days. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and just completely giving it up. So during that time that I've spent on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, which is a lot, I'm going to challenge myself to spend that time in prayer. So I challenge you guys, us as a church, to do this because prayer works. Prayer works. We have empty seats, and I believe that 21 days of prayer and fasting, we're gonna be full. We're gonna be pushing 2 services because prayer works. Prayer is powerful. So we are also going to be doing prayer before church on Sundays. Every single Sunday during our 21 days of prayer and fasting, we're going to open up 30 minutes early, 45 minutes early, 10:15. 10:15, we're inviting everybody to come and pray before the service. So we're going to have music playing. Everybody's going to be either in a chair, on their knees, whatever. We're going to pray from 10:15 to 10:45, and just pray for our church, our community, our families, everything we can think of. Last but not least, our giving. Be faithful to not this house, but God's house. So, I encourage everybody to give. You guys have heard my story on giving. Whether you come to this church or you go to a different church and give to that church, it's great. Tithe works. Prayer works. Tithe works. I believe that everything in the Bible is true. Everything in the Bible is true, and the Bible, prompts us to be faithful givers of our tithe. So our text to give number is 661-218-2707. If you want to text to give, you can give on the website. There's a box over here if you want to give cash or check. And I think that's it. So I'm going to prompt you guys to the screens as we have a short video.
Something else, ladies. Here's a question. Anything else, man? Yes. He's what? He's messy. Okay, that's a woman's. What do you mean messy? My shirt's on the floor? Did the house fall down? Did the children die? Did the day go on? Does he work? Does he have a job? Leave the shirt on the ground. It ain't your shirt. Why are you stalking him around the house, following him? That's his clothes. Those are not your clothes. Look at this. Don't bother me. Look at that. Look at that. Don't bother me. You can't take it. You can't take that. Learn to do this. See how free I am? This is you. Oh God! Oh God! I am sticking to the hand of always picking up everything. But quit picking it up. You wearing yourself out. I left that shirt on the floor because I'm gonna wear it again tomorrow, it's right? What I want it as I go to the door. There's a method to the madness. What else? Okay, ladies, what else? What else bothers you about us? Because this is your night. The toilet seat, because you couldn't put it down by yourself. You didn't see it was up. You found the bathroom, how you messed the toilet seat up? Did you take your eye off the prize? Is that what you did? Did you get to the door and walk in like this? Oh, I'm almost there now. I guess it's down. I guess it's down. I won't look, because if he loves me, I shouldn't have to look. I shouldn't have to look. It's your butt. You fell in. You should look. He left the seat up because he loves you. Women don't understand that. If the seat is up, it means I didn't pee on it. That's the best gift I can give you. If the seat is up, it means it's safe for you to sit down.
I think we may have just saved a few marriages right there, right? So we try to give you guys something a little light to, just kind of get into it. But I think that there was some actual benefit from that, and we can learn from that, right? Anybody feel the spirit in that right there? I mean, that was God speaking, right? So we'll try to find something to pick on men. No, we won't. No. Okay. Hey, we're glad you guys are here. So good to see you guys. So glad you guys have joined us online. Just like Caleb said, Easter's coming. We're stoked for Easter because it's kind of like Be Nice to God Day. People that don't go to church all year will come on Easter. Easiest time to invite somebody to church is on Easter. Okay, so let's take advantage of it and let's invite them. Let's get them here, all right? I can't emphasize enough the prayer that's coming up. Prayer works, and I want you guys praying for your families, for our church family. All right, we're gonna rock this part of our town. We're gonna change it. Here in Wasco and Shafter and Delano and McFarland and all those areas around. I don't want to defund the police, but I want to make it to where we don't need them because everybody's found Jesus, right? How good would it be if I have to lock my doors because I can keep my stuff? Not knowing that nobody's going to get into my house. That's what prayer does. And so let me encourage you guys to take full advantage of it, and let's just change our communities. All right, let's change it for Christ. So let's get into today. The title, if you're taking notes, and I have some notes papers up here because there's going to be stuff coming up here. You guys are going to need to write this down because I kind of went over a lot of this, and it's important. And so remember, 80% of people that take notes, 80 to 92% go to heaven. So go to heaven. Okay, get some notes. Okay. I'm going to stall for a minute if you guys need to go get the note. There's pens over there, and I'm going to make it sound like I'm not stalling, but I am. So, we gave you guys those folders. You can keep your notes in them. If you don't have one of those folders, let us know. We have some more. We'll get one to you because we like for you guys to be able to go back and review this. Because the last thing I want to do is get ready, and then you walk out the door, you took notes, and you don't even remember what I talked about. Take some notes and remember it. Like, oh, what was that one thing he said? I got a note right here, yeah. That's why we gave you the folder. That's why we give you these papers to do that, okay? So, the title today, if we're going to title this, it's going to be called Water Walker. Water Walker, okay? So let me ask you guys this. How many of you have ever had a problem so big only God could fix it? Yeah. When I was thinking about this question myself, the first thing that came to my mind was a meat shop. My mom and dad used to own a meat shop down in Pomona. And they sold it. The guy they sold it to ran it into the ground. They had to repossess it. Well, what happens when somebody runs in the ground, you repossess it? All your customers are gone. And as a business owner, what do you need in order to survive? You need people coming in there buying your stuff, right? So it was a struggle. And my mom had to run it. And let me tell you, I remember parts of it, but I was in school a lot, so I didn't get to see all of it. But I don't remember her praising God for the meat shop. I have no recollection of that whatsoever. I remember her crying out to God, but it wasn't in Thanksgiving for the meat shop. It was, God, get me out of this. God, whatever you got to do. God, if you have to kill my husband, you get me out of this meat shop. I'm kidding. I can't believe he got us into this. No, I'm playing. But it was something that only God could do. And you know what? God was faithful. God moved.
That's right.
There was a miracle what happened. One of these days I'll tell you about it. But God moved in a miraculous way. I still, when I think about the story, I can't believe God did it. It was a problem so big, only God could fix it.
That's right.
Only God could fix it. Now, you may be going through a storm, and you don't see a way out. Right? Any of you guys ever been in those real heavy rains? It's like the wipers are going as fast as they can on your windshield and you still can't see? You're in a storm, right? We went to Texas, what was that, about a year and a half ago? I'd never seen rain like that before. I had never seen, what do we get here? What do we get here in the valley? It sprinkles a little bit and people are losing their minds. Oh my gosh, be careful, because the roads are slick on the first rain. That's not even a rain, it's a sprinkle. But be careful, you could go spin it out of control. We went to Texas, and for 20 minutes, I was looking for animals to line up 2 by 2. It was nuts. It rained sideways. And so we were in a hotel, we're watching this. We went down because I'd never seen rain like this, and I stuck my hand out in the rain. The water was warm. This is crazy. And then the streets are flooded. There's just water everywhere. It stopped raining 10 minutes later. It barely looked like it rained. Everything was gone. Their sewage system, I guess, is top notch. Water was gone. 15 minutes later, we're back in the hotel eating dinner. And it sounded like heaven fell. Boosh! Here it came again. Never seen rain like that before. It was a storm. Okay? And thank God I didn't have to drive in it, because there's no way I would have been able to manage it, okay? But we all have storms in our life, don't we?
Yeah.
We every single one of us, we have storms. Okay? And truth be told, and then if you've never realized it or thought about it, all of us fall into one of 3 categories, all right? We're either in a storm, we're either going into the storm, or we're just coming out of it. And if you're just coming out of it, get ready, because you're probably getting ready to go into another one. Does it ever feel like that? Oh, finally, we got this done. Oh, now we got this. I remember being in high school. Just get done with the test. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, Friday there's another test. We just did a test. Yeah, it's kind of the same way with the storms, right? You either you're in one, coming out of it, or going into one. Okay? But be of good cheer. The 12 disciples, you remember? The fellas, the posse, the crew, the homies that Jesus had with him. You guys remember? There was 12 of them. They went through the same thing. Okay? They faced a storm that only Jesus could rescue them from. Only Jesus. So let's read about it. Matthew chapter 14. There's only 27 verses, so we'll get right there. Immediately, Jesus told his followers to get into the boat and go across the lake. Okay, who told him? Jesus told him. So Jesus, now do you guys think Jesus kind of knows what's getting ready to happen? Or do you think that he's just like, oh my gosh, I had no idea? No, I think Jesus knew. He's a pretty smart guy. He's fully God, fully man. I think Jesus knew what was going on. But how can that be? How can he know what was going on when he told them to get into the boat? Now, if you guys have never heard this story, hold on, here we go. He stayed there to send the people home. Well, what was he doing? After he sent them away, he went by himself up into the hills to pray. To pray. If Jesus was praying, shouldn't we? Yeah, 21 days of prayer next week.
Okay?
Don't wait until.
It was late. Okay? It was late. Anybody of you guys night owls? Yeah, 9 o'clock I'm done. I'm done. Okay? It was late and Jesus was there alone. By this time, the boat was already far away from land. It was being hit by waves because the wind was blowing against it. Okay, they're in a storm. But that's okay, because some of these disciples, if you guys remember, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you, were fishermen. And what do fishermen do? They're out of the water. They navigate this stuff. Okay? You know, it's like the firemen, they went into the fire. Well, yeah, they're firemen. That's their living. They do that. They can read what's going on and they can tell where the fire started from and where they need to go to attack it. These are fishermen. Between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning. How many of you guys even knew there was a 3 in the morning? Some of us are like, what? 3 o'clock comes twice a day? When did that start happening? Yeah. Between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came to them, pay attention here, walking on the water. He was walking on. He wasn't doing a Michael Phelps. He wasn't doing the breaststroke out there to get to him, okay? He wasn't doing the butterfly. He was walking on the water, okay? Next verse. When his followers saw him walking on the water, now think about this for a minute. Between 3 and 6 o'clock, that's dark, right? Where I work, we call that O dark 30, okay? It's dark. Now, you're out in the middle of the lake. They don't have street lights out there, right? Think of the time period that this is. It's not like they had lights on the boat so they could look out there and say, hey, what's going on? Okay? But they saw him, which means he probably wasn't that far from them, right? Probably the moon maybe gave off a little bit of light. Maybe it was lightning and all of a sudden they saw something. I mean, we can get really crazy with our imaginations and think about it. But when his followers saw him walking on the water, they were afraid. They said, it's a ghost. It's like, Casper, when did you get here, right? Okay, Casper was a friendly ghost. You guys just Google it. Okay? And they cried out in fear. Anybody ever been afraid? Anybody remember when you're, I don't know, 7, 8 years old and your shoe falls off the shelf in the closet? It's like, oh my God, the boogeyman's going to get me. Yeah, you guys remember. But Jesus quickly spoke to them. Have courage. It is I. Do not be afraid. Peter said, Peter always open foot, insert mouth, right? That was Peter. That was his thing. Lord, if it's really you, then command me to come to you on the water. Now, what I think would have been hilarious is that one of the disciples sitting in the back just going, hey, come on out, Peter, it's good. And he gets out there like, man overboard, right? And, okay, that's just some of my crazy thoughts, okay? But Jesus said, come. And Peter left the boat, and what did Peter do? He walked on the water. Now, let's be real clear here for a second. This is not just a cute story. This is history. This happened. This is an actual event. Peter, a normal human being, walked on water. Go to the next verse, please. But when Peter saw the wind, now how do you see wind? This verse has always confused me. I don't know how you see wind. You see what the wind was doing because he saw the waves, right? Because it's the middle of a storm. He became afraid. Anybody else have been afraid? Yeah. And he began to sink. And he shouted, Lord, save me. Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught Peter. Jesus says, your faith is small. Why did you doubt? Some versions of this will say, O ye of little faith. Have you guys ever heard that saying before? This is where it comes from. That's a different version, but that's what it says. And they got into the boat, and the wind became calm. The disciples were in a storm that only Jesus could fix, okay? Now, I also believe that the disciples, like us, didn't have a fear problem, okay? They had a faith problem. Think about it for a minute. It's not that we need to fear less. We need to trust God more. We need to have more faith and more trust in what God is doing. Believe what he's telling us. Okay? How do we know what he's telling us? Okay, they got this new invention. It's a book. And it says Bible on it. Okay?
and we read through that, and we read through, and we see what God has commanded and telling us to do. Okay? And the cool thing is if you have a phone, and who doesn't anymore, you can get the Bible on your phone, and you can read the Word of God on your phone. I listen to it. I have an app. It reads it to me. I can listen to the Bible as I'm getting ready for work. Yeah, because I know I need that so that I can trust more and fear less. Okay, so here's 5 observations about water walking. Number 1, anything, and this is probably something you should write down. Okay, 5 observations about water walking. Number 1, anything God leads you to, and they leave this up so they can see it for a minute, okay? Anything God leads you to do will initially involve some level of fear. I can tell you this from personal experience. I came home one day and I said, hey, Robin, I've got this funny feeling. I think God's calling us to plant a church. And she says, have you lost your flipping mind? There was a fear. Because when you step out and you do something that you've never done before, it can cause a lot of fear. It can cause a lot of fear. The first time you step into the batter's box and you face somebody that's throwing 90 plus miles an hour, I've never done it before. There's a level of fear. Okay? There's a level of fear. Anything God leads you to do will initially involve some level of fear because you've never done it before. And you're human, right? Things are going to make you afraid. Don't forget, who put the disciples in the boat and told them to go across? Jesus did. Jesus put the disciples there. Did he know that it was going to scare them? Yeah. He knew that it was going to scare them. It's in the storm where God gets our full attention. Hey, when we first started this, I was scared to death. And I'm not going to lie, the fear hasn't completely gone away yet. Okay? Is anybody going to come? Is he going to show up? Anybody? I mean, my mom and dad did it. They had to. Right? and I honestly, the thought came to my mind, how long are they really going to feel obligated to be here? How long is anybody going to be here? God, are you sure? Did I just have too much chili before bed last night? Maybe I misread this, right? So I'm thinking, got our full attention. Number 2, the greatest purpose of your life cannot be discovered while you are hiding. The greatest purpose of your life cannot be discovered while you are hiding. Okay? You cannot be, you can be hiding and living, but you can't be hiding and thriving. You can't. I remember when we were in church in Portugal, my wife wasn't the biggest people person. As soon as the last amen was said, she was ready to go. We used to have to take 2 cars so we wouldn't fight because I wanted to sit and socialize. Right? I was like a social butterfly. Hey, there's like 48 people here I need to go talk to. And she says, okay, deuces, I'm out. Right? She was gone. She didn't care. She wanted to get home. Okay? But she has stepped out of her boat. Okay? And she has taken on that fear of being vulnerable, of talking to people. And she's actually a great conversationalist now. She'll sit and talk to you for an hour or so. There's times I say, hey, Robin, let's go. We're talking. Right? And, okay, but she understood, hey, our church is not going to thrive if I keep shutting people out. She didn't want to hide anymore because even though she had that initial level of fear, she's like, I'm not going to hide. I'm going to walk into what God's called me to do. All right? And now she is a social butterfly. She's a people person. She'll sit and talk to you, right? And enjoy it because she learned that, hey, if I'm going to thrive, I can't hide. Okay? The storm is rough and the waves are high and the winds, they're really strong. There's going to be stuff coming against you all the time. Right? All the time it's going to come against you. Okay? But whatever your boat is, think about this. If you get out of that boat, you might sink.
right? Peter did. There's a chance you might sink. But there is a guarantee that if you don't get out of the boat, you'll never walk on water. Guaranteed. What is it that Michael Jordan said one time? You will never make the shot you didn't take. 100% guarantee you will never make the shot you didn't take. If you stay in your boat, you will never walk on water. If you want to be a water walker, if you want to walk on water, you've got to get out of the boat. Okay? Number 3. Fear will never go away. Fear will never, ever go away. There's always going to be something, okay? If you follow Jesus with your life, you will have fear. I promise you. Promise you. I look at Brandon sitting back there on the computer. He's got to have fear because he knows if he messes up, I'm going to call him out for everybody. Right? But he's doing a great job, right? Right?
Yes.
Right? So, there's always going to be a level of fear. Always. Never goes away. Okay, part of growth is moving into new territories and new challenges. How many of you guys remember that first day of high school? Who was the big man on campus that first year of high school? Nobody. You were a lowly little freshman. Your main job that first year of high school was stay out of trash cans. Right? Know where all of them are and then avoid those areas. So if the seniors saw you walking by, it wasn't an easy transport from, where you were to the trash can. Because it was new. There was a fear. Hey, I don't want to be trash can. Right? Luckily, we just had the little bitty lockers like this, so we couldn't be locked in our lockers. Okay? we had it easy that way. But there was always that level. Junior high, high school, the same thing. It was a fear. Okay? Because it was something new. Some are graduating. They're scared to death because they don't know what they're going to do at graduation. They've been in school for so long, knowing that they have a schedule to go by, and now all of a sudden, I've got to step out and I've got to get a job, or maybe you think your parents are going to support you, and that may go on for a little while, and they're going to get kind of tired of you mooching off them. It's like, hey, I supported you, for 18 years. You're now 20. Get out. That's scary for some people. I know people that are looking at retirement, and they're scared to death to look at retirement because they've worked in the job for so long. They don't know what they're going to do. They're scared. They've been programmed. I get up every day at this time. I go to work at this time. I come home. I do a couple little things. I watch TV. I go to bed. I do it all the next day over again. They're scared to death because they're going to have so much time on their hands. And if I retire, that's just an admission that I'm going to die. Right? Some people believe that. If I retire, I'm going to die. I'll just keep working. It's a new territory. It's a new challenge. Okay? We're going to experience fear as we go through these challenges. And the only way to avoid fear is to avoid growth. If you don't want to grow, if you don't want to do anything, if you want to just go with the flow and never, ever experience what God's best is, you just sit there and avoid growth. And then you don't have to worry about the fear that comes with it, right? You just avoid all of that. Okay? Fear and growth, they're a package deal. Right? You guys have seen the infomercials. All of this for just $19.99. But wait! If you order now, we're going to include a complimentary and then whatever the product is. Right? You guys have seen it. Some of you may have bought it. No judgment here. It's all right. But that's how fear and growth are. They're a package deal. They come together. And it's a matching set. You can't break the set up. Okay? They're sold together. No sold separately deals here. They come together. Because growth and fear, they're a package deal. You have to become comfortable being uncomfortable in order to follow Jesus. Because he's going to call you to do things that are uncomfortable. When we started Community Circle Church, it was uncomfortable. I've had to do things since that are uncomfortable. I have to talk to people. I have to call people. I've got to answer questions. I have to answer to other people. And it's uncomfortable. Shoot, With our organization, the first board meeting was uncomfortable. They pulled me backwards through a knothole in a fence. They questioned everything. But in order to grow, I had to go through that discomfort. Okay? You have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Number 4. There are things worse than failure. I promise you, there are things that are worse than failure. In this story, if you guys have ever heard it before, some of us have heard it 1,000 times. And every time I hear it, everybody focuses on Peter's failure. Right? Peter took his eyes off Jesus. There's no question about that. It's in black and white. It's in the Bible. It's what it says. He took his eyes off of Jesus. The storm instilled fear, and he took his eyes off to see what was coming to get him, and he sunk. Peter messed up. Peter failed. But there were 11 other bigger failures in the boat. And we never look at them. They never trusted God. They never got out of the boat. They just sat there in their comfort zone. They didn't grow in their faith. They didn't trust Jesus enough to get out of the boat. I reviewed this morning before we started. This particular story is in 2 other passages. It's in the book of Mark and it's in the book of John. None of them talk, John and Mark do not talk about Peter getting out of the boat. All they talk about is Jesus walking on the water coming out to the boat. And I thought, man, why is that? Why is that? Maybe the 11 other disciples didn't want anybody realizing that they were too chicken to get out of the boat. Maybe it's like, hey, let's not look at what I did. Let's not show everybody that, let's look at how bad Peter did. He he got out of the boat, walked on water, and came back soaking wet because he was a coward and he didn't trust God. Now here's something to think about. Okay, and this is free. This isn't not in the notes. Okay. Jesus tells us that faith of a mustard seed will move mountains, right? And what's a mustard seed? It's like a little bitty thing, right? Jesus tells him, your faith was small. Peter walked on water with small faith. Think about that. He walked on water with small faith. What can you do with small faith? That's all that's needed to change things in your life, in your community, in your city. Small faith. Small faith. Peter walked on water with it. What can we do? Hey God, I'm going to trust you. Not a lot, because God, I'm scared, but I'm going to trust you. Little faith. That's all it took. Okay? The other 11, they failed quietly and privately. Right? Their failure went unnoticed and uncriticized. Nobody ever looked at them. You know why? Because they didn't step up and take a chance and trust God. How many people have been called to start a church that have faced no criticism because they didn't? Because nobody knows what they were supposed to do. Hey, we're just going to sit over here and we're just going to jump from church to church and just try to find the fit and, hey, we'll help the pastor out. No, that's not what God called you to do. God said, hey, go start a church. They never got out of the boat. And nobody ever criticizes them because it's done privately. It's done privately and secretly and quietly. Yeah, their failure went unnoticed, uncriticized. Only Peter knew what the feel of the shame of public failure felt like. Because he stood up and he stepped out. He said, well, you know what? There's people that they've gone out and they've started churches and they failed. How many lives were changed before it failed? How many lives were changed? How many people came to Christ before it failed? See, we're ready to dog them, right? We're ready just to say, oh, yeah, they failed and God wasn't in that. How many lives were changed? That'll tell you if God was in it or not, right? Only Peter knew what the public failure felt like, okay? But the bigger failures were the guys who stayed in the boat. They stayed in the boat. Peter was the only one who knew the thrill of walking on water. He failed, but he walked on water. I would love to know what that felt like. I would love to know. Every time I've gone to a body of water, I go right to the water. Yeah. I've tried it. You know, get on the side of the, step out, and I'm at the bottom. Peter knows what it feels like. The only human being in history that knows what it feels like to walk on water. Now you go, well, what about David Blaine? Knock it off. Knock it off. Okay? I'm not talking about illusionists and all that nonsense, okay? Peter walked on water, and he's the only one that was in the boat that knows what that feels like. I mean, think about that. I walked on water. I walked on water. Think about it. Number 5. To truly follow Jesus, you must deny comfort as the ultimate value of your life. Everybody wants to be comfortable, right? How do you know that? Because the older you get, the more comfortable your car becomes, right? I'm not built for a sports car. I'm built for comfort. I don't need the little bitty 2-seater that you can, 0 to 90 in 5 seconds. No. Give me something that I can fit in. Give me lumbar support, right? Plenty of room. Yeah, I'm built for comfort. Yeah, when you're just starting out and you're young, you get furniture, it may not be the best. You start getting older, it's like, no. Hold on. You go in the store, this is what I've done. I go to the furniture store, I lay down on it. What are you doing? I gotta see if I can take a nap on this. Okay? When you get your recliner, it's got to recline all the way back, have a place for the remote. I need to be comfortable. We are a society that seeks comfort. And there's nothing wrong with comfort, okay, until it comes to your spiritual walk. Remember, we've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So ask yourself this, why would I get out of the boat? The boat was, the little safe zone. It was comfortable. It was easy. They've been in boats, 1,000 times where they've lived. Why would I get out of the boat? Because spiritual maturity comes from getting out of the boat. Spiritual maturity comes from getting out of the boat. Now look, I've been in several boats. These were my boats. For the first boat I went to as far as the church, that I remember was down in Ontario. And then we moved to Bakersfield. And I found a boat at Sunshine Church in Oildale. And then I left that boat. And then I left the other boat. I went to Porterville, went to New Life Center. I jumped in that boat. I learned a lot in that boat. And then I came back to Bakersfield, and I got into the boat of Celebration, and I got into the boat of Westside Family Fellowship, and I got into some other boats back to Celebration. But it wasn't the boat I was supposed to be in. I had to get out of the boat. Because my spiritual maturity didn't come from those boats. And look, I'm not slamming anybody or putting any church down. It wasn't where God had me. I had to get out of those boats so that I could walk on the water and to get put where God wanted me, which is right here at Community Circle Church. This is where God has me. Now, there may be somebody to come in here eventually, and we will welcome and love them, but this may not be the boat for them. They may come here for a minute and realize it, and they need to get out of the boat and start walking on water. Spiritual maturity comes from getting out of the boat. We can't just stay in the boat. Discover your purpose by getting out of the boat. You got to get out of the boat. I tell you what, one of the best water walkers we have is my wife. She has never led worship. She has singing worship teams, but she's never been the leader. And honestly, she'll tell you, this was uncomfortable, wasn't it? She's like, I don't know. I said, I have every bit of confidence in you there is. Honestly, we have nobody else. And I pumped her up until she said, okay, I'll do it. She's walking on water when it comes to leading worship. She's walking on water. She's not in the boat of hiding behind a leader in a praise team. She stepped forward and she's walking on water. And she leads this congregation every Sunday. She takes the hand of this church and the hand of God and she puts them together in what we call worship. She's walking on water when it comes to her worship. Okay? So what does getting out of the boat mean for us? What does that look like? Because I don't want there to be any confusion. I don't want anybody to go out to the lake and get out of the boat and drown. Okay? Because this is like a metaphor, right? Hopefully everybody understands that. Okay? Please don't have the cop showing up here arresting me for telling people to go, drown and all that. Okay? But what does it look like for us? Because if I just tell you a cute little story and it doesn't mean anything to us, then I just wasted my time and I wasted yours. And I don't want to waste your time. And I don't want to waste God's time. So, what does getting on the boat look like? Maybe for somebody, it means you start to be faithful and you start trusting God with your finances. And you say, you know what? I'm going to be a consistent tither. Maybe that's your boat. I'm afraid, God, I don't have enough. Yeah. Somebody told me at work one time, they go, you give 10%? I said, yeah. I can't afford that, no. I said, really? I can't afford not to. I can't afford not to. I need the blessing of God on my finances. I cannot allow the world to take a hold of it because I'll be broke. I've got to have God's blessing on my money. I have to. I work too hard for it. So maybe that's your boat. Maybe for others, it might be you step out and you invite that friend or family member. I don't want to talk about church because it just starts fights and I'm so nervous and yeah, get out of the boat. Get out of the boat. Yeah, but what are they going to say? Maybe they say yes. Maybe they say yes, right? So what if they start arguing with me? Would you tell them, right, Rob? Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Okay? Don't argue with them. Don't argue with them. Oh, yeah? Well, you're ugly. You know, I mean, don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, we're having something on Easter. Bring your kids. Maybe they say yes. Maybe that's your boat. Because you've been afraid to kind of share what you got. And God's calling you right now. And He's saying, hey, I've called you for more than just sitting in the chair. I've called you to go out and to lead your family and your friends. Maybe that's your boat. For others, it might be maybe you take the next step and you get baptized. Why is baptism so important? Because it's a public declaration of what God did inside of you. That's why. And we're looking to have a baptismal maybe the week after Easter. We're trying to set that up. So you guys be thinking about that. So I'm not ready yet. Okay. We're not gonna go push you and grab you down and tie you up and throw you in the water. No. I'm not ready. Okay. Okay. Take the 21 days of prayer and think about it and pray about it. Okay? So, well, what if I've been baptized before? Did it work? Did it work? Yeah. Or did you just start off as a dry sinner and come back up a wet sinner? You know what I mean? Think about it. Has Jesus changed your life? And if He has, I think you need to start thinking about getting out of the boat and look at being baptized. So is it that important? Yeah, it really is. If you've got questions, find us. We'll talk to you about it. I'm not going to pressure you. You're still welcome here. We still love you. Okay? But maybe that's your boat. Maybe your boat is, hey, I need to start serving. I need to start giving back. See, we got 1,000 different boats that are out there that make us comfortable, right? But maybe we need to look at getting uncomfortable and at the same time advance the kingdom of God and change the world around us. Because that's what happened when Peter got out of the boat. The world didn't change right away, but it was a process. Okay? It was a process, and the first step was getting out the boat. So, you can't do it in the boat or in your comfort zone. You can't change the world from your boat. You can't change the world from your comfort zone. Right? Remember we talked earlier, I want to see our communities change because I'm tired of worrying about losing my stuff. Oh, I left my garage open all night. Oh, well, I know that it's going to be okay. Wouldn't that be awesome? To know that all your stuff is still going to be in your garage if you absolutely leave it open? Yeah, but we can't do it from our boat. There's no way Peter could have ever walked on the water if he stayed in the boat. Impossible. Couldn't have happened. Peter realized that the water was where Jesus was. And Peter wanted to be where Jesus was. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you want to be where Jesus is? It's not in the boat. Okay? It's not in the boat. So there's two things that you need to know if you're going to be a water walker. Quick hint, these are two things you should probably write down. Okay? Number one, when you fail, Jesus will be there to pick you up. Isn't that what He did with Peter? Lord, save me. And He reaches out and He grabs him and He lifts him up and He walks him back to the boat. Okay? Jesus is there to pick you up when you fail. And here's the cool thing about it. He's not there just to pick you up once, or twice, or thrice. I don't know, is that a word? Thrice? Anyway. He's not there just, you're not going to be able to count. Because he's going to be there whenever you need him, no matter how many times it takes. He is always there. Now, let's keep it real. We think Jesus is just like us. And you get mad every time he leaves the toilet seat up. Right? And you don't say anything for the first time, the second time. After about the 12th time, it's like, okay, sucker, look. How hard is it just to go and set it down? Right? Don't look at me like you're all holy, please. Yeah. And we get frustrated and we lose our cool with it. Jesus isn't like that. 12 times here, I'm going to pick you up. 20 times, I'm going to pick you up. 200 times, I'm here to pick you up. He's not like us. I'm so thankful for that. I am so thankful for that. As many times as it takes, he's there to pick you up. Number 2, when you get out of the boat, you just might walk on water. God bless you. You might walk on water when you get out of the boat. God will use you to do greater things than you have ever imagined. And some of you are like, well, I've never really imagined. Well, start imagining and then multiply it by 1 billion. And that's what God can do. Okay? Greater thing. Greater things. It won't happen in the boat. When you stay in your comfort zone, it won't happen. Okay? The first step is always the most difficult step. I remember when the kids were little, they were learning to walk. Then taking that first step on their own was always the first one. And then, their heads were usually bigger than their bodies, and they lose their balance and boom, go down, right? Well, once you get that first step, it's like, okay, I can start putting another foot in front of the other, and I can start walking, and I can start going up. The first step is where all the fear is at. The first step is the toughest. The first step is the one where you're getting out of the boat. But it's the first step to walking on water. It's the first step to getting closer to where Jesus is. Jesus is on the water. And so, I'll ask you guys today, how many of you guys want to be on the water where Jesus is? That's what it's all about, is to get it on the water. Hey, everybody, close your eyes and bow your heads for me for just a minute. Guys, we have got an amazing opportunity to get out of our boats and to start walking on that spiritual water. I don't know what your boat is. I don't know where you're at in your comfort level. I don't know. And maybe you think that you're out of your boat already. If you think you're out of your boat, I'll just ask you, is the world around you changing? Are you changing anybody's life? Are you affecting anybody? Because that's what getting out of the boat is. You've got to affect somebody. You've got to affect the world around you. That's what it's all about. So, real quick, just hand up and right back down. Everybody's eyes are closed, heads are bowed. How many of you guys would say, you know what, I need to get on my boat? I've been comfortable for too long. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. You know exactly what your boat is, don't you? Yeah. And you know exactly what you need to do to get out of it. You know what God's trying to tell you to do, right? Everybody raise your hand, yes. Absolute yes. Thank you. Guys, God wants you out of your boat. And He's there to help you every step of the way. He loves you. He died for you. All right? So I'm going to ask, we do this every week because I don't want anybody to leave this place unsure of what their salvation status is. Look, guys, if you've never asked Jesus into your heart, if you've never stepped out of your sin boat and said, hey, I need a personal Savior. I need Jesus to step into my life right now and change it and to forgive me my sins. If you've never done that, or maybe you walked away from it, maybe you got hurt somewhere, maybe somebody said something about you, I don't know. There's a thousand different things. It could be 1,000 different reasons. But Jesus says it doesn't matter because I'm here for you. I love you and I want you in my everlasting kingdom in heaven. So I'm going to count to 3. If you want to say yes to Jesus today, come into my heart, forgive me my sins, raise your hand when I get to 3. Okay, here we go. 1. Get out of your sin boat and start changing the world right now by changing your life. Change your relationship status with God. 2. He loves you so much, he died for you, and he can't wait to be in a relationship with you. 3. If that's you, raise your hand up. Yeah, thank you. Yep, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yes. See, guys, it's not just 1, not just 2, there's several. We're not alone. We're not by ourselves. And God's here for each and every one of us. Let me pray real quick. God, I thank you for this time that we've had together. I thank you for everybody that's here. I pray in the name of Jesus, God, that we are water walkers. You have seen the hands that have been raised. God, you see the commitment in their hearts and in their minds. God, I pray that you give them the strength to get out of the boat. Whatever their boat may be, God, we are going to get out of the boat and we're going to get closer to you and we're going to see the world around us change. We're going to see our families, our neighborhoods, and our cities come to you. God, I thank you for each and every person that's here that raised their hand to receive your free gift of forgiveness. So everybody repeat after me so nobody's singled out or embarrassed to say, Dear Jesus,
Dear Jesus,
I love you.
I love you.
And I know I've sinned.
And I know I've sinned.
And I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry.
Please come into my heart
Please come into my heart
and forgive me.
and forgive me.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Hey guys, we're so proud of you. Man, there are angels up in heaven right now. I don't know if you guys have read this. The only time that there's rejoicing in heaven is when somebody comes to the saving knowledge of Jesus and they say, God, Jesus, I want you in my heart. There is a party going on in heaven right now, and you guys are responsible for it, so congratulations. It's a bigger party than when the Dodgers won the World Series, right? So I'm proud of you guys. Don't forget next week, 21 Days of Prayer. We're going to be opening up early. Hey, look, if you guys can't get here at 10:15, but you say, you know what, I get about 10:30, come at 10:30. Whatever time you can give, just come in and there's no structure, there's no, it's just, hey, if you just want to listen to the music and concentrate on it, it's up to you, okay? We love you guys. See you next week, all right? Let's say a quick prayer to get out of here. Thank you, Jesus, for everybody that's here. Touch, bless, and anoint these water walkers. God, as we walk in out of our boat and we walk into the lives and the neighborhoods and the city to change the world around us. God, we love you and thank you. Bring us back next week in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Guys, the best is yet to come.